Nick, when you think about it, consumer cellular is a business where everybody knows your name and knows exactly what you need, which is kind of perfect for this podcast.
Yeah.
So you pick up the phone or you text and you get somebody, a person who responds to you, and it makes it not only easier, but much more pleasant. Nothing like talking to a real person. For a limited time, you can sign up with Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
Terms and conditions apply. You are amazing. There's no other Jeff Goldblum in the world. No one even close. So I can't wait to spend this hour with
Me
you.
too.
Really.
Me too. I can't wait too. Should I? I have things that I wrote down. I'm dreaming about you and thinking about you for the last 24 hours and more. But, well, first of all, there are things, and I mention it sometimes when we have our brief little brushes, together. And I've probably told you before, but maybe you remember, maybe you don't. You know, when we first ran into each other, how long I've known you, or not really known you, but ran into you.
Pre-Mary and I getting married on Martha's Vineyard, and you were there.
You're asking? See, you don't remember. Isn't that interesting?
I'll tell you the whole story. To do with Carnegie Mellon?
Yep. I'll tell you the whole story from my point of view.
Go.
So here's what happened. So I was born in 52. I want to be an actor in the worst way. I'm in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Right.
I went to Chatham Music Day Camp after I got the idea. And around that time, around 10 years old, to be an actor, and I got obsessed with it. And they had a drama program, and that's when I got the idea. But I think for 2 years summers, 6-week summer sessions,
right.
In 67 and 68, I went to my mom, said, hey, because I'd still kept it a secret that I wanted to be an actor. And I was I had some talent for painting. And she said, hey, look, I got this. There's a brochure here for the different things one could do for 6 weeks, day camp style. Yeah. Well, not day camp. Yeah, day camp style. And study over the summer. This is CMU. That's Carnegie Mellon University. They're offering this and that. And they have painting. You want to paint? And I look and I go, oh, look at that drama. Hey, maybe I want to do drama. Really? Says she. Anyway, I enrolled in the drama course and studied with, now I want to talk about all these people at length. It's going to bore everybody else and you can cut this out. But I want to talk about, Bob Parks.
Bob Parks, voice.
Bob Parks and Jewel Walker and Mordecai Lawner.
Yes.
And Baker Salisbury and Edith Skinner.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about all those people because I know you know them because here's what happened. I'm in the school, I think either the first or the second summer, and weren't those heady days. I was so thrilled with meeting all the people that had come there from all over the country. This is 67, 68, and working for Bobby Kennedy and da-da-da-da. And it was so exciting. I was at that point, that's when I started to write every day on my shower steamy door every morning. Please, God, let me be an actor. I thought it was that was my future, and I was obsessed with it. So it was maybe the first year that I went to see something with my parents, or they came to visit this place that I was, gushing about. And we were walking across, from the, what's it called? The main meeting. Skibo Hall.
Yeah.
To, wherever it was, the theater or something, or across that
Fine Arts building.
Lawn. Yeah, the Fine Arts, to that big lawn that I loved so much. And you who had come and apparently, I knew of you because they said, hey, see that guy? That's Ted Danson. He's in the regular program and he's just kind of hanging out here, or maybe he'll take a class or two, but he's in the regular program. And at that point, my ambition didn't go any further than if only I could get into this school as a student. What do you have to do? I know it's very competitive. I want to be in this school. I love this school so much. So you were one of the people who were in this school. And that night, we're crossing one direction. I think going from Skibo Hall to the other way to the Fine Arts Center. You're coming the other way. And I said, look, as you're 20 yards away. Hey, you see that guy? Look at that guy. That's Ted Danson. He's in the school. As we pass, as we pass, because then I'll tell you how we knew each other. As we pass, I think I went, hello, or something like that. And you went, without breaking stride, you went, hello, Jeff, something like that. You passed, and my father turns to me and says, did you hear that voice? did you hear that voice? Because I think at that time, one of the things we thought about actors were that they were going to be on the stage and that they were already developing or had an instrument and had a voice. And I said, yes, I know. So that was a big night for me. And the fact that you said hello to me and seemed to know my name, that was big.
Truth. No exaggeration.
Yeah.
Hello, Jeff. That guy's Ted Danson.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, that's the story. No, that's exactly the story as I remember it, although it's low these, however many years ago. Because I must have been, if I'm born in 52, that's 60, either 7 or 6. So I'm 15 or 16, and you must be
probably 20, 21.
Or 21.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the only time we've shared a class for a moment together, and that's when I really, I guess, got introduced to you, is when I was in Mordecai Lawner's class. And where did he used to have that, at least that summer, in that building that was marbly and in one of those rooms?
That was the Fine Arts Building.
Okay. Yeah. So that was the Fine Arts Building. So we were having our class, and he was introducing us to what he knew, his specialty, which was the Meisner technique, and these improvisations, because he had studied with Meisner and then taught with him in New York at the Neighborhood Playhouse, and then moved back to Pittsburgh.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Jeff. I did not know.
Yes. And I was like, wow, yeah.
And that's when you decided not to go there, but to go to the Neighborhood Playhouse.
Oh, that's when I, fell deeply in love with you, and da-da-da-da. And then that night happened later. And then, fast forward, I auditioned for that school. And it was, I was dead set. I said, I'm not applying to any other school, and it's going to be an acting school. So I looked at, Boston or whatever, did the different things, and, NYU or different, whatever it was. I said, no, I'm just applying to Carnegie Mellon University. I love that school. And we lived there and everything like that. I auditioned. I did I think I now realize, of course, I came to realize a terrible audition. I did two things, as an actor, you have to come to know yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm still doing it now. We may still be doing it now. What am I right for? Who am I really as an actor? Where am I at? Well, at the time I picked a thing from, I guess it was Biff Loman. I guess I did that thing from Death of a Salesman, because I did love that play then. And I still love it now. But at the time, that character is 35, and he's been deeply disappointed and is going through a crisis of awareness and conscience, as you know, about his father and the load of baloney that has ruined his life, really. And now he's about to become his own man. And Well, I couldn't have understood that speech. I did it quite poorly, I'm sure. And then I did something else. Oh, you know what I'd seen? I'll bet I don't know if we overlapped. I used to go, my parents took us to see at the Nixon Theater, which was a theater there. And you would get road companies of New York Broadway shows. And I saw Beyond the Fringe, which had been started by, Dudley Moore and those guys, and Peter Cook.
Yeah.
And but this is with a replacement cast. This is with Rene Aubergenois,
who was a Carnegie graduate.
Who I really?
Yeah.
And that, I came to work with him later, But
right.
Anyway, that was it. So wait, I was telling you the fascinating thing that I'm forgetting that I was telling you. Oh, so yeah, later I went and studied with I auditioned for this school. Yeah. Only that school, and I did a horrible audition and was rejected.
Right.
They turned me down. I scrambled around that summer, 1970 now, where I graduated
and
high
you're
school.
only 17.
And I'm 17, have not turned 18. My birthday is October 22nd. It was going to happen in 70, that next fall. So that summer, I'm still 17. I go to New York. My mom helps me, and I meet somebody from NYU, and I meet Sandy Meisner. I arranged, I know how, because Mordecai Lawner. I'd gotten a little bit palsy with, I know he was on the faculty, and I could, admired them so much. But he said, "Oh yeah," and I said, "What happened? How did I fail?" And they're not taking me. And what do I do now? And he said, "Well, if you're going to New York, you should see if you can meet with Sandy Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse." And
the greatest acting teacher.
Well, so that's what I did. So it's 17, and I lied about my age because you have to be 18 to start. I filled out the application as if I was a year older. We had a little talk, he and I, in this office. They took me, and I started, and I moved to New York, which all turned out for the best.
On your own.
Yes. I mean, Carnegie Mellon would have been great. I loved it. But moving out of the house, moving out of the city that I grew up in was a good thing for my maturity and my development. Studying with Sandy Meisner was fantastic. And being in New York, all turned out for the best. But how about that? But it was Mordecai Launer who helped me to do that. And it was those classes where I first saw you that still kind of were in me, so that when I started the first year, I was like, I know how to do this. I know what they're talking about. I know what Mr. Meisner here is getting at. And I kind of started to, I think, do well at it.
Let me catch up with you.
Yeah.
I left Carnegie. I was a transfer student. So I was there from 68 to 71. And then I got married in school and I left and went to New York.
How many years were you there?
3.5 because I was a transfer student.
From Stanford.
Correct.
I read. And that's because you transferred. You really wanted a serious, where there was a good school, good acting school. And then, but you left before you finished?
Because I was a transfer student, I was qualified to leave after 3 years. And I was married and I was afraid to go to New York. So I decided to go before my then wife, graduated from Carnegie. I went to New York and knocked on doors. And I was so scared. I went to see John Houseman at Juilliard's and said, please take me in. New York's too scary. And he said, no, you'll be fine. And then I started studying, and then that following year with Robert Patterson, who was a student of Sandy Meisner, and I did the 2-year Sandy Meisner program.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's what somebody said the other day. I said, I don't know. He went to, I know that Mary Steenburgen was at the Neighborhood Playhouse.
Right.
A couple of years ahead of me, I think. But,
behind you.
Behind me.
Because you started at 17.
Yes, at 17 in 1970 and 71. And she was in
71, 72.
I see.
70.
So just after me.
Yeah.
Isn't that so? You and she, of course, have this reference. And you did the 2 years with Robert
Patterson, who just happened to be an actor who had studied with him and decided to teach. But that technique is so solid.
It did something for you, really?
Yes. 100%.
No kidding.
More than anything else I've ever studied.
You did that. And then I went and taught it. I taught it in order to learn more thoroughly, I thought. And that's a good way to learn something, I think, for a couple of decades whenever I wasn't working.
Here in LA.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So I'm, I have deep convictions about and a connection with that, the working off of and all that. I have my own.
But it's actionable. There are things to do.
Yes, he's
not a mind mystery.
Well, if you read about, I'm sure you know about the group theater and how that all started, and Meisner, studying along with everybody else, with Strasberg, who got this, Stanislavski stuff at that point in the 30s and started to study, and Harold Clurman and and then Stella Adler and Sandy kind of broke off and did their own separate thing and all of that stuff. But yes, I think Meisner's, because I was exposed to Stella's stuff for a little bit, and Strasberg I saw teach. And yes, I have a good feeling about what Sandy Meisner did too. It's a very doable, early, foundational exercises that really do something good for you. They can
strictly do it, or did you use parts of it and go off on your own when you were teaching, or what?
Well, of course, I think now, after all this time, he always meant it, as he said, as a 2-year foundational beginning that sets you on a maybe 20-year process
to become an actor.
After which you can, if you've done it continually, say, well, maybe I have an inner life, I have a system of an actor, and then you can work at it your whole life and get better and better and better.
You work hard for your money, Nick. So when it comes to your wireless plan, why would you give away your hard-earned money to Big Wireless? It's time to make the switch to Consumer Cellular.
I feel like you're talking to me, not the listener. Now you're just talking to me.
I'm working you.
Okay.
I tell you, you're going to be switching before you even know it. Consumer Cellular offers the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless at up to half the cost, and without the hidden fees or confusing long-term contracts. With a flexible data plan, you only pay for the data you use, not the data you don't, because that's just how it should be.
Yeah.
There's so many things to be proud of and happy to be a spokesperson for this organization.
I can feel the conviction.
I know. It's really
It's
true.
really coming across the table.
Genuine. Yes, good. And, people would have believed it if you hadn't pointed that out. Now it seems like you have to point it out because they don't believe.
Now it seems fake.
For a limited time, you can sign up with Consumer Cellular and save $50 with promo code TED50.
Visit consumercellular.com/TED50 or call 1-888-FREEDOM and mention promo code TED50.
That's consumercellular.com/TED50. Promo code TED50. Terms and conditions apply.
Savings based on consumer cellular's single line 1, 5, and 10 gigabyte data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to T-Mobile and Verizon's lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans, January 2024.
When I look at you as an actor and a person, some of your interviews, you, the musician, the jazz musician, is very much in your body no matter what you're doing. It really is. I mean, I see the improvisational, the how you listen to people. It feels like you are doing that improvisational jazz thing because it's just in your body, whether you're choosing to do it or not. It feels that way to me.
Thanks.
So do me music. Go back.
Yes.
I know you credit your brother who passed away early as an inspiration.
He was into music of a certain kind. Yep. He had albums. He brought home albums. He had his own little room. He was 4 years older than me and loved Stan Getz and some, bossa nova stuff, but loved the modern jazz quartet. We had a couple of those. And Miles Davis. He had sketches of Spain, as I'm now remembering. But my dad was also a jazz fan, brought home Errol Garner records, who was a Pittsburgh piano player. Yeah, so I was exposed to music, the whole family, but yes, including Rick. Yep.
And including piano?
Piano. Well,
Did you take piano lessons?
I took piano lessons. Yes. So there were 4 of us originally, my 2 older brothers, then me, and then my sister, and my mom. They took us to the Syria Mosque. I don't know how well you got to know Pittsburgh, but we saw the Bolshoi Ballet there, and we went to, the museum, and they exposed us to the arts. And I took dance lessons here and there, and all this stuff with Carnegie Mellon that came from them. And they're, what I now realize is our duty to try to expose the kids to the best things possible. And it really, I owe it to them. And so they gave us music lessons. Yes. So teachers came over to the house and taught me piano from 9, 10 on. My sister, who now plays piano and sings with the ukulele. My brothers, Rick chose the clarinet. And he was tooting on that for a while. Didn't really stick. My brother Lee was not really, I don't know if he did anything, but nothing really stuck with him. He was not the arty type. And that was it. So me, yes, I started to take lessons. Didn't know at first the joys of discipline. I was a good student and kind of did things easily and, read, but something really where you want to get better at it, where you really need to work at it. I hadn't experienced yet piano. I was bad in these lessons. I had some facility for it, but the teacher would come once a week. I hadn't practiced, and he would be miserable, and I would be miserable until he gave me a piece after a couple of years or 2 that were jazzy. And this was in my body early on and in my appetite. And I was like, oh, I want to sit now and just learn. I'll sit as long as it takes to learn to play that. Yeah. That's how that happened. So I started to play piano, and then around that same time, around 10, I got it in my head. I wanted to be an actor because my dad said, if you find something you love to do, that's a career, guide. And I realized, geez, I better figure out a way to support myself. And I need a career. I need a profession of some kind. So it was that. But piano was always, I loved it, but I never thought, I'm going to be a piano player. But all along, it was a parallel, separate track of passion that I kept doing. And in fact, in Pittsburgh, as I've told this story a few times, I would call places kind of secretly at cocktail lounges, and I got a couple of jobs playing piano.
While you were still in Pittsburgh?
While I was still in Pittsburgh, just for fun. And that's kind of what's developed all these many years. And now we're about to come out with our 4th album on Decca and Verve.
Tell me the name.
It's the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra.
The Snitzer. Well,
yes.
Tell me about Mildred Snitzer.
About 30 years ago, Mildred Snitzer was the name of a woman who was friends with my mother, and she lived to be 103 or 4. And she'd come over. She was an interesting gal. But we'd already started to play under the radar about 30 years ago. Peter Weller started it, and we started to play around, and he knew some places. We started to play out and about just for fun, still just for fun, not with any careerist ambition. And then we got better. People paid attention to us, and we were invited to go to the Playboy Jazz Festival and play at Hollywood Bowl, in the first 10 years or something like that. And they said, well, we got to put you in the program. Don't you have a name? And in a day, I said, Mildred Snitzer, that's a funny name. Maybe we'll be the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra, and that's what we still are.
And how many people are you together?
It's been a growing and a sort of changing thing. But now for the last the guys I'm with now, mostly the last 10 years have been still with me all that time. About like 5 of us.
Yeah.
And we have a singer, but we've gotten great singers to sing half of the songs on our albums and half of the things when we do it live. Miley Cyrus and Fiona Apple and really great people.
That's
Gregory
amazing.
Porter and really great people. And on this next album, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we've got a few singers that are fantastic. And so, it's fun to do, and we record, and it's really, really fun. But it came from and still remains this sort of parallel, fun way of using myself. But as you say, it is an overlapping craft endeavor. And as I was always a little bit improvisational and jazzy, that Meisner stuff suited me because I thought, hey, this is a little bit like you got to listen, and it's a conversation, and there are things that are overlap, as you know. Yeah.
I love your brain, man.
Well,
I love your brain because music. Yeah, my turn still.
Okay.
Music.
Yeah.
Music is to me like you're into the stars. You're into a different universe. You're into math. You're into all these things.
Yeah.
And you are. I'm jumping all over the place, but
No.
you and Ed Begley Jr. were great buddies, and he, to me, has your similar like brain. I don't know if he's got the music.
He's a witty. I was just with him the other day at Arts Deli. We had breakfast together.
You're two of the smartest people I've ever met. And you have that similar brain.
Well, he is sharp as a tack and funny, hilarious, and the best guy in the world,
Okay, you can ask me something.
I want to ask you something. Well, music. So you say you like music. I wonder how you use it in your, so of course with the Meisner thing, we don't want to get too inside baseball, but you must have come upon this emotional preparation stuff and how to stimulate yourself and make yourself alive. And maybe you use music sometimes, as I've experimented with, and still make use of here and there. Does music have anything to do with your acting? Do you ever make use of it in so-called in one way or another?
I have the strangest relationship to music,
Like
which
what?
is as soon as I hear music, literally, pretty much any, but mostly good music, I immediately go into a fantasy. I immediately go someplace else. So I cannot tell you a Beatles lyric, but I know I can say, yes, I heard that and I know where, but I leave when I hear music in this wonderful way, but I'm very ignorant until Mary, my wife.
Yes. We did a movie together.
Yes,
we can talk about that. That's right.
That's next.
I'll tell you about that. Yeah.
But she's now a songwriter. She works for Universal. She has gotten awards.
Story.
She's
well,
the real
in this
deal.
strange neurological event.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. You'll tell me about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she made me start to listen to lyrics again. So to answer your question, I don't know what my acting thing is. It's everything in the kitchen sink. It's Meisner. It's letting the words, if they're good words, letting the words play on me like a musical instrument. And if I do it enough and hear it enough, it starts to inform me about the character, the music of the word.
That's so interesting. So interesting. Then, of course, there's improvisation, as I told my students to, and I've come to know myself more clearly. Sometimes you're doing a play, or sometimes in a movie, you need to be, I think the Coen brothers work this way. I've never been lucky enough to work with them, but other people.
I hear they listen to the podcast avidly. So
well, that's good.
Maybe
Hired
we can
here.
both get hired.
We're available, the two of us. And, but they want you to do and Wes Anderson, I know, is very meticulous about wanting you to do the lines and the pauses too. So you have to be able to do that and make it seem as if you're making it up spontaneously. Yeah. But there's also the chance to do some of that Meisner-esque if you use it correctly.
Yeah.
Improvisation and Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know what I did? So it was a 2-year...
I'm actually known, let me just throw this in, keep your thought, as the improvisational killer.
Killer?
Yeah, I killed improvisations on the set.
Because
I get scared. I get when it's zinging around, the improvisation, it's like when my sister chased me up the stairs, and even though I was ahead of her, I'd stop and scream. I get panicky and quit, and I bail on the improvisation. I'm terrible.
Really? Even though though you took that Meisner thing, you took with Mordecai Lohner, but you're so good on, I can't believe it entirely.
Well, that's different. So I have one role on that, which is to push him into a corner and make him nutty.
So here we go. First of all, I just have a piece of paper that I wrote these things down.
Is this in case I was a terrible interviewer?
I knew you weren't a terrible interviewer. I knew this was going to be fun anyway, but I thought, I don't want to do what I described before, which is leave and go, oh no, why didn't I ask him about this? Look, I didn't even, now that I look him up, I forgot about that. That's what I'm talking about. So but this just occurred to me. I'm sure all these jokes have been made, but you're a dancing machine. Have nobody ever said that to you?
No, I got Tiny Danson Man.
How's that go?
I don't know. It was something Zach Galifianakis got me into.
Hey, by the way, Mr. Danson is wearing sandals right now, and sometimes I have my own feelings about that. But with feet as lovely as yours, an adult man like you, I'd show them off too in public.
Okay, now I know you're full of shit, Jeff, because I got some of the ugliest feet you've ever seen.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
how
you
do you
didn't
do
really look.
How do you care for your toenails? May I ask these days?
Well, there's the answer. I don't.
Okay, well we'll concentrate on that later. Dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, so your name is Edward Bridge Danson the Third. Did you guys know that? Edwards, because you're the third Edward, huh?
Yeah.
And your dad was also Bridge.
Yeah.
Where's that come from? What a great name.
I don't know where the bridge came from. Way back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and thank God I had a daughter, so I didn't have to wrestle with, calling her Edwina or something.
Edwina.
Yeah. I had a Kate.
Weena. Hey, speaking of Weena, do you know who plays the character of Weena? The character's name is Weena in The Time Machine.
Yvette Mimieux.
That's exactly right. And of course, the lead character, which
Rod.
It was Rod Taylor. Yeah, that's right.
Really wonderful actor, by the way. I don't know what
he was good. Well, I like The Birds. I like him in that, and I like The Birds too.
Yeah.
I want to see The Birds again. I want to show my kids The Birds. You must have all sorts of answers to what do you show your kids when? What movies do you show them when? Of yours, and then of course, not yours, and what are they ready for when? It's probably a case by case.
Mary has a harder problem with that.
Why?
Well, Step Brothers is one of her kind of iconic moments in film.
She's so spectacular in that. Oh, you just reminded me. I love her in Step Brothers. I love that movie, but you know what I love? Clifford. I love the movie Clifford.
We had Marty here, and
and she's so great in that.
Yeah, they were digging trenches for him to walk in.
I know. For anybody who doesn't know that movie, I recommend 10 Goldblums.
It's a cult hit. People love
great.
It.
And Charles Grodin, who is one of my favorite movies, which is Heartbreak Kid.
Heartbreak Kid.
You like Heartbreak Kid?
Midnight Run. He was spectacular in Midnight Run with De Niro.
Midnight Run, fantastic. But have you ever seen his Heartbreak Kid?
Yeah.
You know who directed that, of course, is Elaine May.
Elaine May.
Yeah, I love that. And this is Sybil Shepherd.
By the way, my mind is such that you say the name and I say it 2 seconds after you, like the kid in school who raises his hand when he doesn't know the answer. That's me.
We'll probably not get to, but later I want to talk to you about Robert Parks. He was great, and he had that yoga class. In 67, 68, you must have been part of his classes.
Yep.
That's when yoga was first introduced in America, really, in that way that
to
it
help
was.
your instrument relax.
And for actors, at least in that school, it was a little overlapping.
Yeah.
So we would breathe and relax and do the sponge and et cetera, et cetera.
Jewel Walker was one of my favorites.
I loved Jewel Walker. I took that. I had a little flair for pantomime, for mime, before it fell on hard times.
Everyone hates mime. I don't know.
Of course.
I don't know how that happened.
Tootsie, he does that thing, and then they're at malls and stuff. Everybody hates it now. But I saw Marcel Marceau live on stage.
Me too.
And Jewel Walker recommended that we see Children of Paradise, Les Enfants de Paradis, and Jean-Louis Barrault is just the most fantastic actor and practitioner.
Time for me to ask, how many languages and which are they that you speak? English and what else?
Me? Yeah. Nothing. Only English.
No, you speak 3 languages.
I certainly do not. No, when I say another word, I say it with the dialect, which is probably wrong and insulting.
How many dialects do you speak?
Also none. But my kids, I have a 7 and 8-year-old, and 7 and 9-year-old, 2 boys. They speak French and they speak Italian and they speak English. I know. It's
do you know
incredible.
where that mistake came from? Our manager, Keith Addis, who does believe you speak 3 languages, so don't disappoint him.
Well, that's his, I'm sure, knee-jerk way of puffing up our resume, at any opportunity. Oh, Ted? Yes, he rides horses like the wind.
Like
he
the
does
wind.
Dressage.
That's my phrase. Yes, the wind.
How about that? Well, hey, how about that theater? I loved that theater so much. That's one of the things I fell in love with, that whole campus and that theater. And how about backstage where the classes, that's why I wanted to be Ted Danson or one of the people in the regular school, they'd painted their names way up high backstage in the wings. Do you remember that?
No one painted my name, Jeff.
Really?
No.
Well, no one painted my name because I was never there. But the one name I remember that was recognizable, because even people who are at CMU mostly went on to do nothing, as we know. But George Papard's name was there.
George Papard. My first day looking for an apartment to rent, I'm walking down Baum Boulevard and knocking on doors, and some lady opens. I said, I'm a student at Carnegie, freshman, and I'm looking for a place to live. She says, you remind me of a young George Papard. And I just walked down the street, going, oh my God, I'm going to make it.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things, not only your voice, but of course, at age 20 or 21, you were astoundingly handsome. Oh, you know what I forgot to do?
I still am, Jeff.
And you still are.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
what I mean.
That's crazy.
No, but you absolutely are. Yeah, but you were a supermodel. You were
huge.
you still have. I mean, hey, for people our age, I mean, I'm sure you're approached all the time. You're like those couple of people that if you Google them, are still the main.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. Baker Salisbury, Mordecai Lawner. Well, there you go. George Papard. That year, do you remember on the radio? I was so taken with, I played it over and over again. I got a 45 of it. My Cherie Amour. It came out those summers.
Yeah.
I was so deeply in love. Hey, you were on Laverne and Shirley.
I was. So were you.
Yeah, I was too.
I made out with Penny Marshall.
I made out with Penny Marshall.
Oh, the little tramp. Really? Oh, no.
Yes, she was in this episode. One episode, she was like, hey, we like guys with suits. So I was a guy with suits. She picked me up and we had a date and we came out and we were making out.
I was the fireman we were going to get married, and then I got burned up or something bad. But we made out for a while. Yeah.
Hey, so you and I are, we really have
we've got something.
A connection. Hey, now, Body Heat. Wait a minute. We
crisscrossed there a little bit.
A little bit crisscrossed. Do you know? I don't know what part of the elephant you felt on that, and if our stories coincide. But here's what happened. So his next movie is The Big Chill. I got cast in that.
Yes, huge.
Right. You were fantastic in
Thank
Body
you.
Heat. How about that?
All the right
dancing,
and literally everything that you could take the script that we auditioned with, go to the movie right now and conduct it like a symphony. There's nothing that on the page that did not make it
in Body Heat. How about that? William Hurt, of course, who we knew, and he was in Big Chill, and of course Kathleen Turner, Richard Crenna. Did you have any, No,
I later became good friends with them, but no. Yeah.
Well, I was on the TV when we were kids, was Real McCoys. I used to watch the Real McCoys all the time. Hey, little Luke. He was little Luke.
Sand Pebbles. Remember that movie?
Oh, he was in the Sand Pebbles. Oh, my parents took us to see the first run of that with Liz Taylor and Burton.
No, different. Sand Pebbles.
Wait,
sorry.
Steve McQueen?
Not Sandpiper. Not the Sandpiper.
Oh, that's I'm talking about. I'm thinking
Steve
about
McQueen.
the Sandpiper.
You got
right.
it right. Steve McQueen.
What was Sand Pebbles?
Sand Pebbles was Steve McQueen and Richard Crenna, and it was China in the turn of the century, the Boxer Rebellion.
I've never seen that, but have you ever seen Sandpiper? That's what we went to see.
I think I did.
And then I came to later know Liz Taylor. Did you ever meet Liz Taylor?
I did, because of Roddy McDowell, knowing Mary. We have to do Roddy McDowell.
I knew Roddy McDowell. He came over to our house, where I still am, and took some pictures of me. And of course, he was close with Liz Taylor, with everybody, and was in National Velvet with Liz
Elizabeth Taylor.
So you knew Elizabeth.
Did you ever go to his dinners, the round table dinners? He'd have Mary. They became great friends. When Mary divorced, she said, whenever you come down to LA, stay with me. So she did. And he'd have these dinners with every movie star from every age, and writer and producers. It was like an oral history of, I got to sit next to, Bacall, I got to hug Gregory Peck, all because of Roddy McDowell and my wife.
I love that so much. I mean, Roddy McDowell must have made himself into that kind of person. You don't just get handed that he must have said, I'm going to meet everybody. I'm going to.
And be great friends. He was a true friend for so many people.
Right.
Okay, I need to take over here, this podcast, because this is out of control.
You must.
We
were done anyway. The only thing left, and now this is, you can keep this for the, was your wedding. Speaking of your engagement, I was at
Yes, you were in Martha's Vineyard at our wedding. That's right.
With the president,
Bill
and Chelsea was there. He came over to me at one point.
Oh, I love this.
It was just me and he came up with his arm around Chelsea and said, "Jeff Goldblum, I don't do an impression of him. I've loved everything
Lower the pitch. It's a little
I've
lower.
loved everything you've done, but I never missed an episode of 10 Speed and Brown Shoes."
I wanted to bring that up. That's when I saw you first, and you were amazing.
Oh, thank you. But that's 1980, right?
But you were like full-blown, interesting, fascinating star. You really were.
A little bit. I'll tell you, I've tried to get better, and I look at older things and I go, I'd do it differently now. I could do it a little better now.
It was great.
Well, Ben Vereen, of course. And,
Ben Vereen.
Okay. Robert Webber was in the pilot episode, was my father-in-law, prospective father-in-law, and then all hell breaks loose. But he was in 12 Angry Men, which we just showed the kids. You must know 12.
That's an amazing.
And maybe they're too young for it, but I think they got a kick out of it.
Too soon.
Then I started to show
now?
them.
This is
7
Charlie
and 9.
And
Charlie Ocean is his middle name. That's how much I care about the ocean and Oceana. We named Charlie Ocean Goldblum, and then River Joe is our second one.
What a wonderful names.
We ran out of water names so we didn't have any more. If we'd had another one, the only thing I could think of was Brackish Puddle. Puddle Goldblum. But he wouldn't have fared well with the other two boys.
No more kids.
Okay, that's enough jokes. I'm looking at your eyebrows. You do manicure those things. Let me get.
I have to. You know why?
Because they're white. They're like Carl
no.
Betts.
They go straight down and stab my cheeks if I don't.
Those are good eyebrows, and you do a lovely job.
I do. I can you see where I cut my nose this morning? Though.
Wait a minute, because I do something inside the nose. What do you do?
Well, scissors, and it was a mistake because I literally, right before I came here.
I use scissors. Sometimes something bad happens, but I'm very good with the scissors. I don't like those things that go zzz.
No.
A weed whacker,
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Okay, my turn.
Go.
All right. You have two amazing things according to the trailers that I watch, because there's nothing else to watch right now. Right. Kaos. Please talk to me about Kaos. It looks astounding.
I will. You were so sweet to ask. Yes, people, let me. I'd like to
Netflix
alert people far and wide, because I like it. I've seen all 8 episodes. It's just 8 episodes on Netflix. It's called Kaos, spelled Kaos. It's the Greek mythological characters, some of them in a modern setting, in a kind of daring,
do
dark
we ever
variation.
See you in the mythical Olympic Zeus?
Yes, Mount Olympia, our version of Mount Olympus. Yes, yes, and we see the underworld. David Thewlis plays my brother Hades, in charge of the underworld, and we see Prometheus with his liver getting chewed up on a cliff. My friend, but my prisoner, played by Stephen Delane, and my wife is played by the great Janet McTeer. She's my wife and also my sister.
And then you come down to present day.
Well, we're here.
You're always
our
day.
Mount Olympus is present day, kind of indeterminately 80s. I'm wearing tracksuits that look like they're from the 80s. Yeah, we're sort of in modern times though, and that's where in our parallel universe of wherever it exists is Mount Olympus and Earth and the underworld. Yeah.
It looked amazing, Jeff. It really
thank you.
did.
I like it. I'm happy to be in it. Charlie Cavell created it, who's done other things that you'll know. But yeah, the acting is, everybody else is acting. I try to keep up, but everybody's very lovely, and I think they did a good job with it. Yeah. Take a look at it. You may get a kick out of it.
I plan to. Really, I'm not doing this to you. Yeah. The trailer is unbelievable, and you really want to see it.
Yeah. So. What music did they surprise me at that trailer? There's some nice shots of me that I like, and then that This Bitter Earth. I like that song that I only discovered recently is good. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. You have another
So that's coming out August 29th. That comes out, by the way, all 8 episodes. Yeah, I'm going to, as I was telling you, I'm doing a bunch of publicity, these days. They've sent me out. They're sending me out to,
all over the
New
world.
York and Amsterdam and London and like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have another huge thing coming out.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Well, yeah.
And that looks really good, too.
That's a nice trailer. Yeah. I loved doing it. Do you know that show by any chance?
No, I'm sorry. I don't.
Do you keep up with
I
the
know what it
theater?
is, but I mean.
Yeah. Do you keep up? I mean, it's been here and all over the world, but do you go to New York, by the way, and see
We just
a
did
crop
because
here or there?
Mary just got commissioned to do a play musical for the Atlantic Theater, which I'm sure you know.
Yes, David Mamet.
Yeah, and so we've been going all the time to watch everything.
Fantastic. What musical is she going to do? She sings like a bird.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
she's
yes.
not. She's just writing. I'm not saying no to the singing like a bird.
Oh,
but
I see.
she's just.
Of course, she's a
This
writer.
is this is just writing the music with her.
Oh, she writes just writing the music.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. And so you and David Mamet, are you in cahoots with him? Is he involved at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because he's interested. I did Speed the Plow at the Old Vic some time ago, which I enjoyed. But so you've seen this crop currently.
Yes, amazing.
Interesting. We'll talk all about that. But what was I going to say? Wait a minute.
Kitchen, Hell's Kitchen blew me away.
Really? These days, Hell's Kitchen is
That's
the
Alicia
name of the play.
Keys.
I know where it is, but
it's Alicia Keys' story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's a lot of her library and music, and then 3 or 4 songs that were written for it, but just so powerful. Anyway.
I want to see that.
Talk to me about Wicked.
Yes, Wicked. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, have you guys seen Wicked? It's a stage play. It's been
yes.
widely seen for the last 20 years. Stephen Schwartz, who wrote Godspell and many other things. And
I have a Godspell story, but go on.
You do?
Yes.
I do too. We should exchange. But he did Prince of Egypt. Anyway, he did. Now everybody knows him along with everything else from this successful show, Wicked, which tells the story of the witches in The Wizard of Oz, from the movie that we know and from a book that was written about it originally. And now there's this other book called Wicked that tells the story from another angle, almost like, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, the whole story.
My favorite.
I love that
Jimmy
movie.
Stewart.
I've seen that recently again, too. But I saw it first run when it came out. But you see it, and you see the truth is very different from another angle.
Yeah. That's
what this is. And the Wicked Witch is not wicked at all, really. She has a complicated, interesting character, and her relationship with the Good Witch is interesting. The people who have seen this will know what I'm talking about. And the music that brings this to life is delightful. And in our movie, John M. Chu, who did In the Heights, who made a musical movie that I love out of the stage play very successfully, I think. And then he did Crazy Rich Asians, and he's a great guy. He directed it. And
it looks just spectacular.
Yeah, it's really great that, they've put a lot into it. And Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are the witches. Michelle Yeoh is in it. Jonathan Bailey is in it.
Is it okay to say who you play?
I play the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, you do.
Yes. I play the Wizard of Oz. How about that?
That's amazing. I can't wait for both of them.
You would have been great as the Wizard of Oz. How's your singing?
No, it's non-existent. Don't even ask me that. Really? We're going to edit whatever you say about me singing. All right. Oh, Jeff.
We're
still probably going to just see each other at parties and go, hey, and have 2 words.
We should have dinner once a week
But
now,
the hug will be different this time. The hug will be different.
Much different.
I
hope it doesn't cross any lines on your part.
No,
I'm more worried about you than me.
Yeah, well, you should be.
Yes.
I am so admiring of you. I love your brain. Yeah. And you know what? I love your you are a bundle of creativity. Everything we've been talking and speed talking, by the way.
Yeah.
What do you do to relax?
I apologize for that. Relax. Well,
marijuana was probably never your drug, right?
No.
I like getting stupid, but probably not.
Did you smoked a little weed?
Yeah, I did.
Here and there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that for, experimentally for a couple of months, back then.
Yeah.
And my mom
must have slowed you down too much.
Yeah, it was. Well, it sort of makes me wild. Once every 2 years, I go. And I go, why? It makes me wild in ways I can't even tell. I can't tell you. So I don't do it.
It needs no stimulants.
It doesn't. I really don't.
You are astounding.
No, this is me. I had a little. You see, I'm sipping on a little coffee, but mostly no caffeine. I'm just. If I get a nice night's sleep, I'm in good shape, and then a little. I don't mind a nap, But that's my intoxicant of choice, But wait a minute. So weed. What were we? Oh yeah, I was going to tell you. My mom used to grow weed in Pittsburgh. She wanted to be part of the new freedoms.
Your mom.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. She was growing it in our backyard. But no, I never did that much. But how did you start that? What did you say?
Your brain and how wonderful it is and how fast
I know. What do I do to relax?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
See, I drop mental breadcrumbs, even though I'm tangential.
I've heard you say that, and
on
I
a
love
dime.
that.
I do. Yeah, I know where I've come from. Let me see. Sometimes. So to relax, well, I don't know.
You probably relax with music. It probably puts you in
I play every day. I'm now disciplined. I mean, I told you that story at the beginning of this, saying I was disciplined. I then learned, after I studied with Sandy Meisner and after I learned how to teach it and et cetera, through many things, I learned how to do my homework and what kind of preparation put you in, the best place, and what kind of, how hard to work and how conscientiously and how you need to work. And I'm still discovering it and learning about it, but I'm interested in discipline and now trying to expose my kids to it. I mean, at what age can they be expected to buckle down, really? They do what they do, the things that they're interested in. I follow their curiosity, of course, but some other things, like they're taking piano lessons, in fact, and they're doing well and they like it, but sometimes they need a little, encouragement and firm.
Have they seen you perform? They must have.
Yeah, they've seen that. They've seen a couple of things. I don't know what it means to them or what's going to become of them, but we're trying to expose them to all good things. They seem to be flourishing in one way or another. But this one area, I like to, we're experimenting with how much to kind of, try to get them to, do some homework. We try to get there. If they have school homework, they got to do that, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're not in one of these programs that's very, forgiving of that. They have some things that they got to do, that they may not want to do. And my wife, Emily, was in the Olympics. She was.
Can you just tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, she's still a world-class athlete, and she was in, from when she was 11, speaking of our stories, when she was, and I still have to hear more about yours, but I told you about me a little bit, but she was around that same age, 11 or something. She was grown up in Toronto. She saw the Olympics, I think, on TV, and she went, that's it. That's what I must do. And her mom's a regular mom. She had nobody around who was doing anything like that. And she started to study, follow her older sister, to ballet class and this and that. And then, lo and behold, this Bulgarian coach who was kind of high up in the, in the solar system of that kind of thing, saw her and saw other kids there and went, you've got the right structure there. And if you have this steely will, like it seems you do, she might be okay for me. And I want to take her to Russia, like half the year, from now till she's in for the next 7 years.
Oh, you're kidding.
And her mom went, no, certainly not. No, my God. And at that point, she went on a hunger strike and went to Emily, and she said, I have to do that. I'm going to do that. I want to do that. And she did. And it cost a little money, and her mom got a couple other jobs to send her there. But she went, she studied, and after...
Gymnastics.
Yep. Rhythmic gymnastics, where you're very flexible and you do all that dancing and stuff on the hoop, the ball and the ball and the clubs and the ribbon, and did all those routines. And she was when she was 16, was the Pan American champion. She was the best rhythmic gymnast in all of North America, Canada, Mexico. And then she went to the Olympics and did that. And then she learned aerial, Cirque du Soleil kind of things. And now she dances behind all sorts of people, Taylor Swift, and does body doubling in movies. She was Emma Stone's body double in La La Land when they were dancing outside the
wonderful movie.
The thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's amazing.
She's amazing, and she teaches, and she's still an athlete and a kind of it really took it. It didn't break her, and she didn't kind of.
And this is none of my business kind of question. And if she was here, I would ask her this.
Yes.
But is her body her body get punished by the early discipline?
That's what I was telling you. No, not her body and her psychology. It was a Eastern European Bulgarian, as you can imagine, with all the abuse that came with that. Nope, her body, even though she was crying and it was to make her feet do that, make her body do that, it took blood, sweat, and plenty of tears. But she liked it. She wanted to do it, and now she still does it, loves to work out every day, loves her body. Her body serves her. She teaches how to use the body in order to uplift your entire system and work out. And her psychology is just the right balance of fun and playfulness and normality and toughness too.
How did you guys meet?
And athleticism. I mean, in raising kids, she's the fact that she's that kind of athlete in every way kind of, I think, helps. We met at the gym. I work out and I have my own little disciplined regime, nothing like hers ever was. And her sister had her first child that morning. So like sliding doors style, she wouldn't have been in that early. I usually go in early. I saw her from across the crowded room, and she was doing not to be showing off, but she was doing some things that I could tell. And I'm an admirer of, dancers, and I danced a little myself and people who are athletes. And so I, immediately, locked onto her vision and toddled over to her, and we struck up a conversation. That was it.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Something like that. I said, what are you doing? What you must be, what do you do? That kind of thing. Yeah. That's how it started. I love that you're doing all of this. I can't believe, speaking of connection and the will to go on and your life force, I mean, you're still working like crazy in every way, but better than ever. And you're doing this.
I love this. I love this because instead of being the wallflower, shy person, asshole that I can be around you, I now can go, Jeff, tell me all about yourself. Let's talk. And it's such a privilege to sit down and do that. I've loved this.
I have to. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Travel safely.
I will. Thank you. Be safe here. Yeah. I'll see you soon.